Hello, friends. Hello, friends. A tradition unlike any other.
Oh, my goodness. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
There it is! Adam Scott, a life changer.
Mashed potato!
Here it comes.
Our great friends at Puma Golf are proud to introduce the new Ignite Articulate golf shoe, taking cleated innovation to the next level, thanks to an all-new articulating outsole, midsole, and upper that is designed to flex with your foot and deliver the highest level of support. Built to meet the rigorous quality, aesthetic, and performance demands of the world's best golfers, the Ignite Articulate combines Puma's tour-validated technologies in a lightweight, extremely comfortable package with a modern athletic silhouette that can handle any swing from any lie in any season. Make your move now. The Ignite Articulate are available in-store and online in Australia, starting from just $250. For more information, visit cobragolf.com.au. This is the 19th Tee podcast. Kieran Marsh and Nathan Drudy back with you, back together. Finally, at last. It's been a couple of weeks. Drewster, good to be back in your company.
Yes, likewise, KM. It has been a little while, but we've been individually holding down the fort for the last couple of weeks. Just haven't been able to align schedules. So, but still, the content pushes out. Content is king, my friend.
A lot more solid when you're holding it down than when I am.
Please.
It's like the old half and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down when it comes to me flying solo on the 19th Tee podcast.
No,
but
not at all.
plenty to get through this week, my friend. We'll start, though. I'm going to crack open a yeah, boy. Thanks to our good friends at Gage Roads Brewing Company. Really enjoying the continued streak of the non-alcoholics on a Monday evening as we come down from a nice relaxing weekend. As I said, plenty to get through in terms of tours, but we should start with news today. We do like to be on the news, sometimes break it, more often than not report it just after the fact. But the worst kept secret, I think, in Australian golfing circles for some time, the LIV Golf event confirmed for the Grange Golf Club in Adelaide, April 21st through 23rd next year. Greg Norman was in town to make the announcement alongside some South Australian government types and all the big names you would expect from a LIV Golf tour promised. I won't yet say confirmed because we'll see it when they're standing in front of us here in Australia. But, you know, Smith, Leishman, of course, Koepka, Mickelson, DeChambeau, all the big names were rattled out today, and we have LIV Golf coming to our shores in 2023.
Isn't well, it is the best kept secret, as you alluded to there. And I think probably, I was doing a bit of thinking on the way home. This is going to be very well supported, Marshy. I think, Adelaide, obviously, the government has been a big supporter of it. I think their premier was at the announcement today and fielded a range of questions from journalists, obviously questions that we've raised on this. But I think Adelaide's actually not a bad place for LIV to end up. Obviously, they wanted to be in Sydney for the pure population size, but Adelaide is very central in Australia. It's 2.5 hours from me here in Perth. It's probably roughly the same for yourself. It's about an hour from Melbourne, so it's gonna be very central for people to get to. And at $80 for a 3-day pass, it is going to prove to be very, very popular. And given that the PGA Tour hasn't been here for quite some time, I suggest that they are going to sell quite a few tickets to the event, particularly in South Australia anyway.
I was just about to say, I feel as though their pitch fell on sympathetic ears, that of the LIV Golf administrators in terms of taking it to Adelaide. I know that, it had been shopped around considerably from an Australian perspective. I'm good friends with a number of members of Brookwater here in southeast Queensland who had confirmed that club had certainly been in conversations. Of course, the home club of Louis Dobler, for one, Ash Barty, another. She lives on the course there and in the Ipswich region. So, it's been shopped into southeast Queensland. It had been shopped into New South Wales, as you said, and ultimately Adelaide gets the nod. I'm happy for Adelaide in the sense that we have mentioned countless times that it's a criminally underrated golf region of the country. Gets probably spoken about, maybe third, fourth, fifth position behind the likes of the Sandbelt, the increasing profile of Tasmanian golf now, and of course, the great courses through New South Wales. So, from a South Australian golf fan's perspective, I think it's excellent. And to your point, much like LIV Golf has targeted areas of the United States of America that have been, I suppose, neglected, if you wanted to be unkind, by their tour. It's unsurprising that LIV Golf has lobbed into a part of the country that's not seen a lot of competitive golf in recent years.
No, exactly right. And they're going to bring some massive names down, as you mentioned. Obviously, the makeups of the team will likely be different to what we saw going around this year. There's obviously more rumors swirling around players that might flip over to LIV, but it's gonna be a very interesting sort of 6 months until this event comes to town, just to see how our tour kind of reacts to it as well, just to see if there is any sort of, I don't know, if they lean on each other. I know they've sort of pledged allegiance to the flag of the PGA Tour. It's going to be quite an interesting watch over the next sort of 6 months. I think, obviously, it's after the event at the National as well. So our season is entirely wrapped up. I was just pulling that up there. So our season finishes on the 2nd of April, which is an interesting one to note as well, because it may pave some opportunities for local Aussie players here if they do sort of need those numbers boosting up in the team. So an interesting watch over the next 6 months. I mean, you can probably tell, and listeners to this can probably tell, that I think, as I said to you maybe 2 months ago, I think I've just run my course with it and I'm kind of just over it, and let's just let the chips fall where they may and get on with golf. And that's probably still my position. I think golf's going to look very different in 23 and very, very different in 24 when the PGA Tour makes its changes. But in the meantime, the next 6 months is going to be really important for I guess Australian golfing fans.
I tend to agree. I think it's a good point you make as well in terms of where it sits in relation to the Australian Tour being completed. We've seen, particularly recently, the stops in Asia, specifically Thailand, for the LIV Golf Series. A number of local players were given the opportunity to fill spots that I suppose signed or contracted LIV players didn't make the trip to those parts of the world. So wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I don't think you're going to get all 48 of the signed and sealed LIV members at the Grange Golf Club in April of next year. And you would think that will create opportunities for local Australian players, whether it's the kind of fringe Aussies who've been part of the tour, like Trav Smith, Jed Morgan, depending on where he sits come April of next year in LIV Golf, or whether it is, purely local guys, our PGA Tour of Australasia members who have played a full summer and might get their chance as well. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think that LIV Golf's at an interesting juncture in the sense that the momentum seems to have slowed somewhat. I won't say that the air's completely out of the tyres, but, there has been a little bit of a halt, I think, in terms of there's no doubt the greatest interest is in the players that they sign. And there's been some time since they made a significant announcement. There are rumours now, again, swirling about, probably primarily driven by their own deadline of having their rosters locked in by the end of the year. That, the likes of Cantlay, Shawfley are strongly rumoured to be going. Mito Pereira was snapped at a LIV Golf function only in the last 48 hours. And, that's seemingly been coming for 6 or 7 weeks, his transition to LIV Golf. So I think it's in an interesting junction in the sense of, irrespective of where they land on signings, this next season of expanded events, a longer schedule, and probably geographically a greater spread of events takes on another, I suppose, another evolution of that competition. But they're still without a broadcast partner, aren't they? Mm. So it's at a really fascinating juncture, I find, of its journey, and I'm glad for South Australian golf fans that they'll see some of the best players in the world in their own backyard. But Australia has certainly well and truly entered the chat, if we hadn't already, by the players we were contributing to it, or its face in Greg Norman. We are now a stop on the tour, so we are 2 feet in, it seems, at this stage.
Yeah, and I think there probably will get close to a full field. I reckon Greg, there's obviously rumours that he may not even be the CEO anymore. I think there's been some rumours around, was it TaylorMade's former CEO may step into that role, but I reckon Greg will be pushing to have most players. Essentially, this is a home game for Greg. So a couple of big junctures, sort of to steal your term there, over the next few months as well. Obviously, we're going to have our first major being the Masters in April, which will kind of reignite the debate and the storylines. I think there's going to be some more players obviously going that will again reignite it. So it's certainly not going to dissipate into the background, but I feel like it kind of has in the last little bit anyway. I don't know if that's just maybe because I've been more interested in the Houston Opens and others, and haven't really particularly been that interested in what's happening in the world of LIV Golf. But yeah, now that it's coming to Australia, I think it'll start to turn a few heads, and at $80 for 3 days, like that's very, very, very cheap. And again, and we'll say it until we're blue in the face, you know, the ticket prices and the revenue literally mean nothing to this business, because it's essentially not even a business. And as you alluded to, no broadcast deal, but that just affects you and I at the moment, unfortunately, because we don't get to see it. But it's not that big issue for LIV Golf at the moment. I wouldn't have thought.
I don't think they care in the slightest, Drudes. It's a never-ending pit of money, and that's mainly because it's a never-ending pit of oil that they sit on and we all consume. So just on broadcast, I actually think it'll be fascinating to see. There's obviously no umbrella broadcast deal for the tour itself, but they do have, which is why obviously they're streaming it through YouTube at present. There are local agreements in place that I'm aware of, particularly across parts of Asia. I'll be fascinated to see whether or not Fox Sports, particularly through KO, put their hat in the ring to cover it, because obviously that's the broadcast partner of our Australian Summer of Golf, not just with the tour, but as we heard a few weeks ago, through David Evans, the chairman of the Cathedral Invitational. They're picking up that one-day event in December, which is obviously not necessarily a sanctioned tournament on the tour. So yeah, it'd be fascinating to see if Fox pick that up. I'd be very surprised if there's not conversations already happening or planned to, because I think they'd be silly not to. The list of names that you're going to have, not least of which the Australians. And to your point on timing, Masters gets underway on the 6th of April. So all things being equal, if Augusta land where we think they will, and that's not to bar these players, that's a tournament that Cameron Smith plays incredibly well in, as we know. Could be coming back home to play in a tournament at Grange Golf Club a fortnight after being crowned a Masters champion. So
100%. I think it'd be really interesting. Look, I was actually texting back and forth with a mate today about going over for it, because I mean, $80 for a 3-day ticket. It's like, why would you not? Or I think, Jesus, between what we paid to go to the President's Cup for 3 days was, I don't know, far more than that. I can't even remember what it was. I think it was about two grand. So it actually wasn't too bad all up. But you know, for $80 plus, you know, flights, maybe use a bit of those frequent flyer points that you and I amassed living over here in WA, traveling every second week. It may not be a bad shout to actually go over and check it out and actually see what it looks like, sort of in the flesh, because you know all we're hearing at the moment is second and third hand information. So maybe we'll have to organise a team trip. The AGM might have to be around that.
Oh, we love an AGM. I think we can take the AGM to South Australia. I can't imagine there'd be any problem with that.
No.
So look, that's definitely a watch this space at this point in time. But announced today proper, Grange Golf Club, the host of the first LIV Golf event in Australia, April 21st to 23rd next year. Closer to home, Drudes, we had comfortably probably the strongest field so far in the Australian Summer of Golf, the Vic PGA at Moona Links, across the weekend, obviously since last Thursday, but a winner crowned. Remarkable scenes on the 5th playoff hole, and had a little bit of everything, including a drinks cart overturned into a bunker out there at Moona Links. So really was a tournament for all. But Andrew Martin, the Bendigo local, gets it done down in Victoria in front of St Fenley faces for his second ever win on the PGA Tour of Australasia, Druids.
Yeah, I mean, wowee. It was the never-ending playoff, wasn't it? I mean, it just kept going back and forth, and every time you thought that someone had the leg up between, obviously, Andrew Martin, our good friend, Lincoln Tighe, obviously disappointing for him not to be holding the trophy from a very selfish point of view. But every time it looked like one of them was ahead, the other one would return serve. And no doubt that Andrew Martin, I mean, what a putting performance in the playoff as well. Yeah. I think that was the thing that stood out clearly to me. I mean, Lincoln clearly had him on distance every time off the tee, and but it all came down to the putter, and it was a fascinating playoff up and down to 18 continuously. You know my thoughts on that. But it was
thinking of you every time they went back to the 18th tee. I was thinking of you.
Yeah, I bet you were, and I was thinking of myself, going, "Can we do something else, please? Can we just at least pack some of the cameras up and go to another hole, because this is boring as batshit going straight up and down." But look, all in all, fantastic tournament there down at Moona Links on two very, very good courses. I couldn't get the stats done for this week because obviously we were playing across two different courses, so that didn't help. But there was some big discrepancies between the two, and I think you saw Andrew Martin open with a 75 and then turn things around very, very quickly. So congratulations to him. He now leads the order of merit after an eventful 5-hole playoff KM.
We should also mention Brett Coletta and Adam Bland. It started as a 4-way playoff on the first playoff hole, and obviously whittled down to Lincoln, Andrew Martin. Incredible putting performance, to be fair, from both. I think Link was rolling them in from a distance as well. But, Martin looked like the cup was 2 foot wide. It was incredible. And I think the more looks you get at a green, probably the more comfortable you become. You still got to make them, though. There was some particularly probably the last 2 holes, I think, in the playoff, some incredibly clutch putting. The second last hole, the pressure back on Link with a birdie putt before him and force him to make it, to force it to a 5th. And then, to get it done, it was, very, very impressive from, he's not a spring chicken, Andrew Martin, but I think that more often than not, I think it's incredible, Drew, it's how often we see, and you and I are probably guilty. We come into these summers, this is probably our 3rd now, and we look ahead and we do these previews and we rattle off the names of everyone who seems to be around about 26, 27 or younger. And we overlook guys who have not only been around the tour for a distinct period of time, but have played all of these courses like countless times and know them so well, right? Not just the course, but also the conditions. So I'm as guilty of it as anyone else of overlooking guys that probably deserve a far better, at least, investigation as to their chances across particularly the early parts of the summer. He's put a bit of egg on my face, and I'm happy to say that I enjoyed watching him go about his business, Andrew Martin, on the weekend and secure that second win. Bendigo local, as I said, funnily enough, the exact same club in Bendigo as Lucas Herbert. So producing the goods. I think it's Neangia Golf Club. Someone will probably drop it in the comments and tell me how wrong I am, but looked like Neangia Golf Club in Bendigo. They're both from the same club. So
interesting.
I did feel for Link. I must say.
Can you run us through that, please? Just run us through 18.
So regulation 18. So the 72nd hole of the tournament. He's in the final group with Adam Bland. He takes a 1 shot. He's at 10 under, standing on the tee. Takes a 1 shot lead in the final hole. Smokes his drive. His work off the tee, to be fair. I think he had might have had a bogey on the first hole, and then led the entire way through the final round, post that up until the last hole. And a lot of that was to do with his work off the tee. It was exceptional. So smokes one down the left-hand side of the fairway and looks to just stay under the breeze. Little stinger to put himself in with probably a comfy maybe 2-putt. Maybe if he had a press, he has to get up and down from off the fringe of the green and round it out with a par. Anyway, the stinger rolls probably, I'd say, 10 to 15 feet further than it should have into the little pot bunker at the front left of the green. Sitting up, though, like perfectly comfortable lie. And he gets in there, poor old Lincoln, and he hits a shot that I would expect more from you or I than a touring professional. It is I think the nightmare bunker shot for all probably, either mid-teen or low double-figure handicappers. When you open the face and you hit the old sky rocket, the hosel rocket, it went at right angles,
90
to
degrees,
90 unbelievable, degrees. Straight off the other side of the green. So not the worst, not a terrible shot, but not the worst result because he's in high on the other side of the green, fairly clean lie, takes the chip, runs it past the hole, off to the other side of the fringe of the green. So he's probably left himself another 10 or 12 feet, which he misses, ends up bogeying, and birdies, and they go in equal. Playing pars, think bogeys to drop back to 9 under in a 4-way playoff and plays for another 5 holes and gets done. So he's probably well within his rights to feel a bit dirty on himself because he was in a perfect position, even from that pot bunker, to get up and down and seal a victory with a par, but just wasn't to be.
No. I was just waiting for someone, like if that was you or me playing, it'd be like, that's all right, mate. At least it's out of the bunker. That's all right.
Wouldn't actually surprise me if a few people said that because the shot, as I said, the chip was fine, pin high, perfectly good lie, just probably overcompensated there as well, given the previous shot.
Yeah.
Got the skates on and couldn't stop. But yeah, the poor old Link, I did feel for him watching that live. It was difficult. Great tournament though, as I said, best field that we've seen probably so far this summer, and that's trending in the right direction as we head up to Southeast Queensland. I'm not sure there was much else out of that tournament for you. I think probably a little too early to get form lines on many people. It's odd. We've got a skew of people coming home. Some played, some didn't play. Some are arriving back this week and will play nudgy, won't play and just going fresh into the PGA. So obviously all eyes are Royal Queensland in 2 weeks' time, but it is difficult at present, I think, to get a form line really on anyone other than the ones that have played, I'd suggest, all 3 tournaments so far.
Yes, I would tend to agree on that. I think, there are a couple of players that are definitely been around the leaderboard so far. Josh Armstrong, very good, open with a 67 and then 3 rounds of par. He'll obviously be disappointed with that. Jack Thompson is in good form. He finished T5. Zach Murray returns for a T7. Our good friend Justin Warren, T14. So there are names that are hanging around the top of the leaderboard. I thought Dave Micheluzzi fought hard after a pretty average opening round to make the cut and finish T20 at a tournament that he so dearly loves. Likewise, Aaron Wilkin, who's been playing some nice golf, Blake Windred. So there's guys that are playing well, but maybe just not well enough to really crack into the top 10, top 5, put themselves in contention. So, there was no doubt that there was a big discrepancy between the 2 courses as well. So, interesting tournament. I think it bodes well for now moving into the Queensland swing, which obviously kicked off with Blitz Golf, which we'll get to in a moment. But there'll be some guys that'll be looking to put some good weeks together up in Queensland.
And to agree. In terms of the order of merit, Andrew Martin jumped straight to the top, 261.89 points, having played 3 events. Dave Micheluzzi still in second, 233 points. Dane Lawson, 215, and then a significant drop. Michael Simon, fourth, 124. Brett Coletta, 120 points in fifth. Ben Ferguson, 115 points in sixth. Chris Wood in seventh, 101. Lincoln Tighe, a flat 100.94 in eighth. Denzel Eremiah, 78 points. And Adam Bland rounds out the top 10 with 76 points, having only played the event just gone on the weekend. So, as we know, the point system tiered towards the quality of the event, the quality of the field. So these next couple of weeks, important ones to win and get some points, particularly at the PGA, get some points and potentially a comfortable lead heading into the 6-week break over Christmas. I did mention I'm not sure in broadcast tournament golf I've seen a stranger thing than an overturned drinks cart in a buggy. Obviously, we didn't really. It's gone a little bit viral in Australian golf social media, both across Instagram and Twitter. Got no context. It kind of just appeared. Got no. I didn't see it go in. Didn't understand the circumstances surrounding. We obviously didn't approach Motorlinks for an official comment as to the employment status of the driver of the drinks cart and moving forward, but that was odd. That was definitely one of the stranger things I've seen in broadcast tournament golf.
Not sure if they were driving the wrong way down the fairway, because that is often the cause of some of these things when they kind of pop out of nowhere, the bunkers, when you're driving the other way down the course. So I'm sure there'll be an answer at some point. Was the driver unscathed? I assume so.
Yeah, hopefully. Potentially the driver had been embarking on a few drinks themselves. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know if there's a test for on course driving under the influence, but goodness me, it was I just trying to put. I think the picture that kind of everyone's kind of screenshotted from the broadcast is Lincoln Tighe kind of lining up a shot. I just trying to put myself in the shoes of a player. You've hit your tee shot, because it looked like, I'm pretty sure it was his second, and you're walking up to your ball, and you either see it happen, or you kind of have your head down and you look up and there's just an overturned cart in the bunker. I'm not entirely sure, because it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So
I'm just trying to see if I can find a photo of it that we can tweet out. I'll have to do some digging properly, because it doesn't come up when you search golf cart.
If you haven't seen it, give Drew some time. He'll post it on the other socials. I will find it. 19th Tee podcast. Drew, you mentioned the Queensland swing has already kicked off. Blitz Golf, the opening event of the season at Oxley Golf Club here in Brisbane over the weekend. Great chat with Simon, our good mate Simon from Blitz, about the exciting season coming up. But the first event has been run and won by whom, Drew? An inaugural winner.
Yes.
Blitz Golf.
Yeah, James Ghibellini wins. He leads now, of course, after one event, 8 points. Our good friend Tim Hart on 4 points, Sarah Wilson and Harry Takis also on 4, and then a bunch of players on 2 points. So, it looked like a pretty good turnout out there as well. I mean, some interesting names going around as well. Adam Blythe was playing, Michael Sim, Jason Norris, who I got to know over here a little bit, is a very funny guy, playing alongside Jason Ackermanis of Brisbane Lions fame. Kai Komulainen, very talented golfer. Montana Strauss. So some good names going around. Justice Bozio, we know how talented she is. Sarah Wilson. So, it looked like, from all reports, it looked like a pretty good turnout as well. So, good to see Blitz Golf kicking off in Queensland.
And speaking of golf in Queensland, we had the Monday qualifier, Druids, for the Queensland PGA Championship, played at the Kurai course out at Nudgee Golf Club today. Of course, the same venue of the tournament coming up this week. Cooper Geddes from your neck of the woods, won the Monday qualifier by 1 stroke at 5 under, shot a 67 today to get himself through. Alongside James Conran, Jake Hughes, Andre Horty, and Aidan Dodone, and also Ben Ferguson, also from your neck of the woods.
Yes.
So all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players earning a spot in the field for the tournament coming up this weekend.
Yes, that will be a good one to kick things off at Nudgee, and then we really get into the pointy middle of the Aussie season.
Pointy end of the opening segment of the season. Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
I am very much looking forward to getting out to Nudgee this weekend. There's a couple of players I'm looking forward to going and have a looking at, not least of which is our good mate, the Wizard. Justin Warren was scheduled to join us tonight, has been diverted from Melbourne to Adelaide to get to Brisbane, go figure, as he makes his way up from the Vic PGA to play in the Queensland PGA. So had to push back that chat with Wiz either later this week or early next. I think we both agreed that we give him the day off tomorrow and have him back on as a winner of the Queensland PGA on Monday evening of next week. So, but looking forward to that. Looking forward to walking some fairways with him and others. I think this will be obviously not everyone will use this as a bit of a tune up for the following week, but I imagine it'll be a very strong field out there at Nudgee. We kind of said the tournament may have caught the course 12 months early last year. Won't be the case 12 months down the track. I think those renovations are well and truly settled in and established, and I think it'll be great. I mean, if you're a Southeast Queensland golf fan, you got rocks in your head if you're not out there this weekend. It's free entry. There's no excuses. Yes, it'll catch a bit of TV time, but yeah, get out there and walk the course. There is no better access than turning up to Nudgee for free and getting that close to some of the best players in Australia. So come and say hello.
You've not offered your services on the bag, 21? Thought you might have been.
Well, look, no.
Have you been
No's the
declined?
short answer. Well,
Well, you got to take Thursday, Friday off work too to do it. So
you do.
It
Busy time of year
doesn't really
as
well.
well. Doesn't bode well for me.
No.
Not too many people were keen on my offer of only caddying the weekend if they made it.
Yeah.
Not least of which was Wiz.
Yeah.
So
Probably like
think-
bad juju type sort of setup as well in terms of,
Yeah.
hey, playing well, making the weekend, and then, bringing you along with that fucking thing on your face too. Like that would distract.
I think I offer far more value to those players with whom we've kept a good relationship as moral support. Like I'm a really good strong clapper, and I'm good for the occasional shot was. So I think that's where I probably offer more value than yardages or club selection. So stick to my lane.
So you can do that from the gallery is what you think.
I can, yeah, I can.
No, it'll be fun. You'll enjoy it walking around.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
What else we got
around? Well, I was just gonna say, should we go around the grounds
briefly?
briefly?
Yeah, not too
so
much.
Cadence Bank Houston Open, Tony Finau. Quite incredible. Third win in 7 starts, 4th win in the last 15 months. And the first took him something like 200 and something odd starts on the PGA Tour. So
That's right.
the floodgates have opened. This is, people critical would say 5 wins without anything terribly significant, but they are trending in the right direction, right? We
Correct.
started with the Puerto Rico Open. Now we've headed to the Houston Open. And he's in a rich vein of form at the moment that cannot be denied. And I mean, not least of which for the fact that if any tournament you can come home 38 in the back 9 on Sunday and win by 4, you're a comfy winner.
Yeah, absolutely. He, just played so well, didn't he, across 4 days? I mean, you look at his strokes gained numbers and it is just unbelievably consistent. 2nd in strokes gained putting, 5th approach, 3rd off the tee, 4th tee to green. Not great around the greens, but just to be inside the top 5 across 4 of those stats is going to win you most tournaments that you enter. So, yeah, no doubt he's in a rich vein of form. I don't know where that quite bumps him up to in terms of world rankings. I think it may be only 1 spot up to number 3 spots up to number 12. So, yeah, he's in a rich vein of form, playing very, very well. I had him in the fantasy team, which is also nice. So, happy days for me.
That fantasy is becoming increasingly more dismal for me at
You
a very
missed-
early
you
part
missed-
of the season.
You missed 3 weeks as well. So,
That'll do it to you. That'll
Right.
absolutely do it to you.
as long as I put my tips in every week,
Yeah.
I think it's
You're
going to
a-
be very difficult for you, KM.
Yeah.
I'm 164th in the entire game.
That's terribly impressive.
Yeah.
Terribly, terribly impressive.
But I don't know how many people are in the game. Like, it doesn't say. Like, tell me.
Yeah, the app, the user experience, what I'd say, is not excellent.
That sucks.
The UX, I think they're doing some work on that from what I keep getting emails about. It's transitioning to the PGA Tour app, etc. So
that is true. That is true.
that'll be another week that I miss my tips because I go looking for it in an app that doesn't exist anymore. So you go to a fairly comfortable lead, I would have thought. Just briefly, the Australians, Jason Day, he's, I wouldn't say rich vein of form, but he's in a vein of form, which is a significant improvement on probably the last 2 years. He continues a decent run. He jumped 9 spots on Sunday with a 68 to finish in a tie for 16th. And yeah, I've been not having to scroll terribly far down the leaderboard to see his name in recent weeks, which is a pleasant change for J-Day. The body's clearly in a decent spot. Wasn't a great week otherwise for us.
No.
Not great at all. So,
No.
Look, it is what it is. We've got a lot of people either travelling home. We had plenty of people playing in final rounds of Q schools in Europe and America for the Corn Ferry perspective as well. So I would suggest that, pure Australian involvement from a PGA Tour level probably won't increase until the new year, as we often see from Hawaii onwards. So, but yeah, J-Day, good to see. You have anything else there? Or?
I was just going to say, I'm just trying to work out where he's up to 113 in the world. I'm just going back to the fortnight where he missed the cut. He was actually even closer than that at the Shriners. He was 175th in the world. So he's up 60 spots in not very many weeks, in about 5 weeks. So good to see things are going in the right direction for Jason Day.
Rich fan. There you go. Over on the European or DP World Tour, it was the Nedbank Golf Challenge Sun City, the Gary Player Country Club in South Africa. A favourite of this podcast. And to be fair, that's an easy claim to fame because I think he's a favourite of most golfing fans the world over. Tommy Fleetwood breaks a 3-year drought to claim victory by one shot over Ryan Fox. Incredibly consistent from Fleetwood, 70, 70, 70, and a 67. So it saves his best till Sunday, which you always like to see in your winner, but good to see Tommy Fleetwood back atop the winners' podium, Drudes, on a golfing tournament perspective.
Yeah, great to see. I mean, just as you said, so popular and pity it wasn't in a tournament that maybe got a little bit more attention than this one, but you can't knock a win's a win, right? So good on Tommy.
Takes home over €1 million as well, if you don't mind. Just briefly on Ryan Fox, I know we do speak about Foxy quite often, and we have cause to, given we wrap up European Tour results and he's often there or thereabouts. We often joke he's the highest finishing Australasian, as we like to say, and claim our Kiwi brothers and sisters from across the ditch. But he's finished one shot back at Tommy Fleetwood. And I scroll past this from a good friend of the podcast, Tony Wiebeck, today. A tweet post the final round where Tone says, "Can we please take a moment to recognise the astonishing season of Ryan Fox? 23 starts, 2 wins, 4 seconds, 8 top 5s, 10 top 10s, €3.2 million in prize money, and he's jumped from 217th to 23rd in the official world golf rankings." Now, you can be as critical as you like of the OWGR system. And he jumped from, 217 to 23rd. Best part of 200 places is impressive. And he has had a remarkable season in Europe and comes home, you would suggest, he's going to contest the major tournaments both here in Australia and in New Zealand across the remainder of this summer. You go a long way to find a more deserving favourite coming into a lot of those tournaments, Druids.
Yeah, I'd suggest he will. Yeah, he's going to be there, and I wouldn't at all surprised to see him lifting, one of the big ones.
Agreed. In terms of Australians in that field, Minwoo Lee a tie for 8th at 5 under, so he's finished 6 shots back of Tommy Fleetwood. Lucas Herbert was in a tie for 25th at 2 under. Just scrolling down to get the remainder of the results. Scrolling past your boy Adrian out 9 over.
Not good. Not in good vein of form. I was going to say, I don't think there are any other Aussies, were there?
No, just Minwoo and Lucas. Just on Minwoo, he's looked really good since the Spanish swing, to be fair. And I kind of feel like we said this last year when he came home, because he's on his way back now, that he came home with a level of expectation. I don't think anything's changed 12 months down the track. So I would imagine wouldn't think we'd see him at Nudgee. Would see him for the first time at Royal Queensland, but it was exactly the same. He walked in there with a lot of expectation, played relatively well without necessarily setting the house on fire. I'd imagine he'd want to go a step again, better this coming summer. I'm looking forward to seeing him, given how he's been playing in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Agreed. I was just going to say a very multicultural top 10 KM here. So England, New Zealand, India, Scotland, South Africa, Sweden, Malaysia, England, South Africa, Denmark, Germany, and Australia in the top 10. Fun fact for your Monday evening.
That's a good get from you on Gavin Green in outright 7th as the Malaysian, because I did not recognise that flag.
I do like flags. Bit of a weirdo like that.
That's a really, and in a few other ways, but that's a good get from you. Really, really good get. So that's the type of stuff you come to this podcast for each and every week, is the left of field facts like multicultural top 10s on the DP World Tour. That will probably do us.
Yeah. Oh, just shout out Nelly Quarter 1 on the LPGA as well, and she goes back to number 1 in the world, I believe.
Good to see her back. I don't know that there's a better swing in international golf than Nelly Quarters.
And Hannah Green, T4. Shout out. That was it. Done for the week.
HG, well done. So Nudgee Golf Club, all eyes this coming week. Of course, getting underway the Queensland PGA on Thursday. I will bring you some B-grade social media content from the course across the weekend, because we all know the Druids has got the best stuff, but I will be there looking to take the young fella out for his first golf tournament, which will be an interesting experience. So we'll endeavour that on Saturday, and depending on how long that lasts, probably get back out there on Sunday myself. See how that goes, because it could be anything. We could be out there for half a day. We could be out there for 45 minutes on Saturday. We'll just have to wait and see how we go.
Wish you the very best.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's been a pleasure. As always, as we said, we look to have Justin Warren on from next week, and that will be also a comprehensive preview of the Australian PGA, one of the big ones coming up, arguably the biggest, although we are looking forward to the return of the Australian Open as well. So, pleasure to have your company, Druids, as always, as that of our listeners. Enjoy your weekend of golf, whether you're watching, viewing, come say hi if you see me, or playing yourself, and we'll be back in your ears next Monday evening.